Do I look like a gardener to you? I am a better, I am not a gardener. Hedging is for gardens. How does your garden grow?
With plus money.
With plus money. Hedging is for gardens.
This is Betting Weekly Live. You're with Dan Roebuck and Lewis Jones. Over the course of the next 40 minutes or so, we're going to be talking Premier League. We've got Scottish Premiership action. And we're going to kick off with just a little look at the Copa del Rey semi-final between Athletic Club and Real Sociedad. Lewis, how are you?
Yes, very well, Dan. Very well. Just a bit of chaos behind the scenes in the Jones household. Just my wife trying to get both my kids out of the house to the park, and one of them not playing ball. So a bit of a mad 5 minutes, but you wouldn't notice. You wouldn't know, would you? Because I'm such a professional.
No, you don't need to pull the curtain back, Lewis. You can just pretend it's all
exactly. Everything's rosy in my life. It's not a stress. It's not completely stress manic every moment of the day. It's nice and calm, and I don't regret having children at all.
John says, "Good morning, folks. Hope everyone is well." Pat Logic says, "Took the Reading. Plus quarter at 108. Thanks to you guys." Byron says, "Morning all, not as good as the day before, but still entertaining." Mike is with us. Hi all. The real Brendan King. Hello guys. I love the theme tune. AJ T97. Afternoon, gents. One of the better duos. Thank you, AJ. Great Hearts 1-0 win. A guy called A is with us as well. Hi both. Welcoming one and all. As per usual, we'll talk about one or two of the topics of the day before we get into the Premier League. We know that people come in a little bit sort of late. We like to sort of warm everyone up, and I will give some thoughts on the Copa del Rey semi-final first leg, the Basque Derby in just a sec. But we've got to start really, Lewis, with sort of the news from a Premier League point of view today. So Thomas Frank was relieved of his duties at Tottenham after their 2-1 home defeat to Newcastle last night. Look, it was on the cards. It was going to take something spectacular for him to keep his job. He was always just one defeat away, it felt, and this was the one in midweek, the straw that broke the camel's back. It was very much in the post, wasn't it, unfortunately for him?
Yeah, it just never got going, did it, really? Unfortunately, his style of football, I don't think there was that much buy-in, I don't think, from the players. They didn't really... I think when you got a manager with such a unique style as Thomas Frank, trying to take what he did at Brentford to Tottenham, you need buy-in from the squad. Otherwise, it falls flat, and it absolutely did. I think once results started to turn. I mean, he had quite a good start, didn't he? I remember just that the win at Manchester City seems like absolutely ages ago now, doesn't it? But there was real hope there that this might be the sort of the fix that Tottenham have been looking for. But yeah, no, it's fallen flat, and he can have a little bit of excuses maybe with the injuries. I think missing Kulusevski this season has been absolutely huge for him. He's probably, I think, the best out of possession player in the Premier League in terms of pressing and the amount of energy and intensity he brings to the game. So I can feel for him there a little bit. But I think the one thing football clubs need to learn, Dan, is the fact that they need to stop hiring managers from sensibly run clubs, really, like Brighton, like Brentford, like Bournemouth, because I think we're seeing lots of examples now how the manager is such a small part of how that club operates from just the whole strategic point of view. And I know they get celebrated in the media, don't they, for being the sort of front man for it all, but it really is the structure of the football club that puts these clubs in such great positions within their results. And if you just look at Brentford's managers over the years, they've got a tendency of sort of plucking these guys out of nowhere, and they do a really good job at Brentford. Then they go on sort of fall flat elsewhere. I mean, Uwe Rosler, he got them promoted from League One. Got Mark Warburton as well. He did a good job. He went on to manage Rangers and did a pretty average job there. Dean Smith did well at Villa after Brentford, but he's now in the MLS, and now we've got Thomas Frank as well. So I think there's just a bit of a recurring theme here with the type of when you take a manager out of a really well-run club, that it's a very risky thing to do, because once that structure and that sort of comfort blanket of a sensible decision making is out of the picture, I do think these managers do struggle in that sort of firing line. I mean, the perfect example is Graham Potter, of course. I mean, the recruitment at Brighton to get Caicedo, McAllister, Cucurella, all these players under Potter's watch. He's a brilliant coach. He's a brilliant tactician. But in terms of the overall package of a manager, he's shown that it failed miserably at Chelsea and West Ham. So I do think football clubs need to start taking note that you don't hire managers from sensibly run clubs because it just doesn't work. So Tottenham need to learn their lesson there, I think. Yeah,
they do. Lots in the chat. I'll come back to some of the chat about the Premier League in just a second. What have we got in terms of Frank chat here? Guy called Data never thought Frank was the right fit for Spurs. No experience at that level. Style of football not suited for a top 6 team. You're suggesting that Spurs are a top 6 team? A guy called I see. Byron says, feel for Frank. He's a good manager, but Spurs thinks there's something that at the moment they're not. Exactly. 17th last season, 16th so far. This tells you what you are as a program. That's for sure. Keeper's a problem, says B. Frank. You're talking about Spurs there. Guy goes, I will consider him at Palace, though. Talking about Thomas Frank. Yeah, he's been sort of shouted around a little bit for Palace, hasn't he? The real Brendan King says, totally fine if Ange came back. Do you think they'd consider it realistically? I doubt it. Probably going to be Ryan Mason. Well, he is free, isn't he, at the minute? Bless him. What else have we got? Effie says, organisation incompetence will fail any manager. This is true. What else we got? AJT, I think it's Adam, isn't it? It says, Robbie Keane, next manager, 10-1. Does market leader De Zerbi seriously walk into this mess? Well, he left Marseille, which can be a little bit of a basket case. They released that about 2:30 this morning. That's one that you don't want people to know, but people do get to know. What about De Zerbi? Who do you think might be next for Spurs, Lewis?
It's a big risk, wouldn't it be, getting De Zerbi in at this time of the season? I think just because he could take them and win the Champions League, but could also get them relegated. I think so. I think there's too much risk involved with De Zerbi. He's very combustible, isn't he? He's a very hard guy to manage over a long term. I think they just have to be sensible and get someone in just to steady the ship, whether that be Heitinger, John Heitinger, who's the assistant manager under Frank. They brought him in a few weeks ago, didn't they? So that might have been a thinking. Maybe if Frank was to lose his job, that then he's the guy to come in and steady the ship for the rest of the season. He has got managerial experience. Didn't go that well for him, I don't think, did it? Where was he? Was he at Ajax? Was he at Ajax?
He was at Ajax.
Yeah, Ajax. Yeah, I didn't go very well for him there, did it? So, so it's gonna. I think it's going to be an interim to the end of the season, just to get through this season without no relegation issues. I mean, it's an absolute sensational story to think that Spurs are plus 600 to be relegated at this stage of the season. It is miraculous, really. But I think in the long term, they've got to just get this. There's one man out there that just stands out like a sore thumb for me. I'm not sure whether he's going to be able to get him, but Oliver Glasner, I think they just have to move heaven and earth to get him if he wants to stay in London potentially and take a job like Tottenham. I just think he's one of the probably pound for pound best managers in the world football, and he's achieved it at different clubs with different type of structures as well. So he's not just your Graham Potter or Thomas Frank, where he's done it at one club. He's done it at Frankfurt and Palace. What he's done in both those jobs is ridiculous, really, in terms of the trophies that those clubs have won and where they are as a football club now. So yeah, I just think he's got everything you want from a manager that has to manage that type of club, because he's very authoritative, isn't he? He knows how to deal with players. He takes no prisoners. He deals with the media brilliantly, I think, and he wins football matches and gets teams punching above their weight. And I just think if you can get Glasner, I know there's been links with Manchester United, isn't there? They still might go down the Glasner route maybe in the summer, but he's going to probably have a pick of a few clubs, Glasner, I think. And if Spurs could get him, I think that'd be a really, really sensible appointment and something that they need in the dugout. But whether they could get it done, I'm not sure. But he'd be top of my list if I was on the Spurs board.
Going to be interesting. Going to be interesting to see what happens with Spurs. Yeah, the next game is, of course, Arsenal. It's not for 12 days because they're out of the FA Cup, of course. So that's going to be an interesting one. It is at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. They've got 3 London derbies on the spin and then Liverpool away. So we'll see what happens. It'll be an interesting one to see. Do we know if there's do we know if there's a caretaker in at the minute or not?
I don't think they've announced it yet.
I don't think there is. There's nothing there.
I mean, Heitinger is that.
Heitinger is there, isn't he? So
yeah, that would be the obvious one to make. But they've got a bit of time, haven't they? Until
they've got a little bit of time, and they've done that obviously for a reason. I will circle back to one or two more comments. Guy Corday says went 3-3 yesterday. Was on Guimaraes yellow card, West Ham double chance, Norwich money line, Napoli over 2.5, Hibs money line, Mansfield money line let me down. Well, that sounds like a nasty one. What else have we got here that I've maybe not mentioned so far? Not a lot. We're going to get into today's game shortly, but Giuseppe makes a good point. He says Spurs should question themselves on the players injured, because there's a huge roll call of injured players. So many of them 2 years in a row does not help. That is true. Dave Clark said, did anyone see that Cole Palmer miss yesterday? Yeah, I think it was next year of about 0.92, wasn't it, or something?
So one of the biggest of the season for sure. Yes.
Yeah, it was. Keep the comments coming in. I will drop back into them shortly. We were going to talk Spanish first, but we're not. We're going to take Scottish. We're going to talk Scottish first, because we talked Scottish first yesterday, and Lewis kindly has agreed to take a look at the Motherwell Rangers game. But if you were with us right at the start of the season, and I must stress this to those who don't know, and hopefully some will remember, you absolutely called Rangers game by game for the first about 10. And if you just faded them every single game, you were making money left, right and centre. They've steadied the ship, of course, with Danny Rule in charge. But as we get to the business end, and they're around about 2-1-ish, plus 200 to win the title, and they're banging the mix bizarrely after that incredible start, Lewis. Are you fading them away at Motherwell? Do you remember your Rangers call? It was the manager call rather than the Rangers call, wasn't it?
Yeah, just a continued theme of Russell Martin when he takes jobs. It takes a while for his message to land, and then eventually there was just completely, as we mentioned this word, buy-in already from the players. There was no buy-in from the Rangers players towards Russell Martin and his style. And yeah, it's one of those regrets really, because I seem to not make enough profit from that.
I think you suggested, let's do the first 3 or 4 games or something like that, which is fine. But it just kept on going, didn't it? It was just an incredibly poor run. But anyway,
yeah, I needed to sort of see out the pattern that I predicted really, which was a shame, because I think you need to probably stand tall to your. If you have got a real strong opinion like that, you can't let a couple of maybe lucky results go against you, and that's what I sort of bailed out too early from that theory. But Rangers since then they've made quite a smart appointment. I think Danny Rowe, he's not brought his sort of all action style to the table. I don't think he's been a bit more measured, a bit more sensible in terms of making them hard to beat, good from set pieces, and just steadied the ship to get them, to be honest, with a chance of the title again. I mean, they are in the mix, so it's going to be a really exciting end to the season in Scotland.
Yeah. Are they going to win tonight, Lewis? Plus 110 away at Motherwell, who are half decent, having a good season, plus 235. This is a tough game, isn't it, for Rangers here? We've got the prices up on screen. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, this Motherwell defence in the Premiership this season, absolutely, I think it's extraordinary. They conceded just 17 goals and kept 13 clean sheets. But it's their recent record, Dan, which is the most jaw-dropping, I think. I mean, 10 clean sheets in their last 12 Premiership games. They've conceded just 2 goals in their last 12 games. I mean, that is absolutely outrageous for a team that aren't called Rangers or Celtic in the Scottish Premiership, and it shows you how maybe the narrative is turning in the Scottish Premiership for these teams that like Motherwell, like Hearts, can actually go and compete with some smart recruitment. And they haven't conceded a goal in their last 9 home games. That's over 13 hours.
It's a club record, I think, isn't it?
It's absolutely insane, really. It's an absolutely sensational record. So I did dug into the data, as you like to do, to make sure that they're not completely overperforming their XG, and they are by 10 goals when it comes to expected goals against. So there's a little bit of a regression to come, I think. But to add a bit of context into that, and I've spoken to a few people up in Scotland about Motherwell, and both of them mentioned the goalkeeper, Callum Ward. He is arguably their most outstanding player. I mean, they snapped him up from Finland, I think, for nothing in the summer, and he's been absolutely a revelation for Motherwell, and I think he's one of the main reasons for this excellent defensive record. So even though it's quite tempting to think that the defensive underlying numbers will come and bite them eventually, they might just have a brilliant goalkeeper that is responsible for them keeping lots and lots of clean sheets. So with that in mind, I think they're a bet here actually on the on the plus a quarter actually on the Asian handicap here. Minus 106 we can get Motherwell. So we're still making money if the game ends a draw. And I just think there's still a bit of old firm bias in the way some markets are priced up involving Rangers and Celtic when they play the likes of Hearts and Motherwell, who have shown they can be very competitive, especially in home games. And I think the market has moved towards Motherwell in the last sort of few hours or so. So that's a quite a good sign. But I just think we're still making money here if the game ends a draw by taking the plus a quarter line on Motherwell here. And I just thought that was if you're taking the names out of the equation of the teams involved and just looking at their pure results and underlying metrics and the defensive numbers that Motherwell are putting up, Rangers look short here to me. So I just wanted to back the team who've got probably one of the best goalkeepers in the league and are full of confidence, and they've got that sort of siege mentality going at the moment. So yeah, I thought it was a bit of a no-brainer really to take them with the quarter start.
Quarter ball start, Motherwell, we like -106 or thereabouts for that game in Scotland. John has come with some stats. Tawanda Maswanisa scored 13 top-flight goals this season, scored in his last 4 league games in a row, has hit at least 1 shot on target in 15 of 21. We did have him up on our graphic there as well. He is plus 220 anytime goal scorer. Stuart's with us, Motherwell not considered home in 8 league games. I mean, it's an incredible run. It really is. RHS, there's no offense, but I follow this guy's picks. He's not great. Who's not great? RHM. Are you Claudio in disguise?
Well, we've got point to prove, obviously, so we'll see at the end of the day, shall we?
Yeah, we will do. Look, I think it's a fair bet. I think I texted you about a month ago and said Rangers are going to win this, aren't they? And you were saying, well, it's wide open, but I think they are probably doing a little bit better than they should do at the minute. We like that one. Marinese might be an interesting play for any time goal scorer. What else have we got? Let's move on to the Premier League action. We'll talk Spain right at the end of the show. What have we got first? Let me get my notes open here. We're going to talk Man City Fulham first up. Man City are -315. They have been beaten. They have been backed, I should say. Fulham plus 750, the tie plus 440. The goal line is sort of inching towards 3.5, agent line sort of 3, 2 3/4, something like that. Both teams score yes, -150, plus 112 for no. Haaland, Semenyo, Marmoush. Interesting if Haaland and Marmoush both start. They did at the weekend, and they don't that often, I don't think. There's only a couple of times they've started together this season. I don't know. I also was looking at this game and thought Pep has gone a little bit back to what he wants, a bit more control in the game, Lewis, for this one. I mean, they need to win. Obviously, the gap will be 3 points if they do to Arsenal. This is one that they can't slip up in. All the head-to-head would suggest City are going to win this. Is there any value to be squeezed out of it at all? I mean, for me, City look the right price. I might end up backing unders. I'm not so sure. But what's your thoughts on this one?
Well, Man City are a very difficult team for me at the moment because I think I've noticed some things again with their defensive structure and their out of play stuff, like that out of possession play. I think there's been a bit of cause for concern there again over the past few weeks. Not to the extent of last season where everything just sort of crumbled around them, where teams had found it so easy to play through the midfield and create big chances against them. But I do think there is that sort of that weakness coming back into their play out of possession. I do think teams can break through quite easily through their midfield at the moment. So I'm just looking at the data since they drew with Chelsea, and I'm going to take teams where they were 1-3 or shorter to win out of the equation. So I just think they've been repeatedly sort of badly exposed defensively. They've shipped an expected goals against tally of 1.45 per 90 in those. I think it's 7 games now since that Chelsea game, and they're facing 4.6 shots on target, and that is a very big number for Pep Guardiola. And I do think there's some sort of correlation here with the fact that Rodri has come back into the team and just looks nowhere near fully fit or anywhere near the level that's required at the moment to play in this Man City team in that sort of central midfield role where you're sort of trying to put out fires. We've seen him over the years where he's just absolutely bossed games and no one can even get a sniff of getting in behind or breaking through that sort of area. But teams are just doing it at will in the moment. And I think you can see that through his yellow card count in the last about 6 games or so. Last 440 minutes of action, he's been carded 5 times, which is a very high figure for for Rodri. He normally gets booked every sort of 500 minutes, but he's getting booked every 95 minutes at the moment. I just think that's a big indicator that he's nowhere near his relentless.
Just a bit off the pace.
Absolutely. And it's going to take time, obviously, but what does Pep do? Does he leave him out because he's become a liability, or does he try and get him up to speed by playing him? And until I sort of see the fact that he is back to his best, I am always going to be a little bit negative about Man City here. And the both teams to score angle was the one that I quite liked, but that's the price is it's big. I think it was a lot bigger actually earlier in the week. I think it's now what, minus 150, is it, for both teams to score? I mean, it is short, so I had to sort of find somewhere else to make a play here, and it's in the Fulham shots on target market. Actually, I quite liked the over 3.5 Fulham shots on target here at plus money, plus 125. I just think that's probably the way to back a Fulham based bet here, just because, as I mentioned, they're conceding lots of shots on target at the moment, Man City, even though they've been getting results here and there. But that figure is a worry for me. And this bet would have landed in 6 of the last 7 City matches for the opposition. So I think they're allowing teams lots of space in transition still. It's leading to big opportunities on their goal, and that's where shots on targets come from. So instead of the both teams to score, yes, where's the price have gone, I've just tried to negotiate sort of a bigger price. And the over 3.5 shots on target line for Fulham, so they need to get 4 for that bet to win. I think that's a runner in what could be quite a I think it could be quite a high scoring game. I mean, the goal line did again peel, but the price has gone there. So yeah, I think Fulham will contribute, and City probably will get the job done, but I don't want to be going anywhere near them. I just think want to try and exploit the fact that they don't look as defensively sound as they can be at the moment, and I think Fulham can break through.
Yeah, I think all that is fair. I listened to Pep Guardiola the other week talking about the fact that he's not got that many players who understand how he wants to play. One of them is Rodri, who's off the pace, fit at the minute. We're talking about Bernardo Silva. He's one, players who have played for him for a long time. This is a new team in transition. And I think that all, the gears are just missing every now and then a little bit. I take your point. RHM, I knew RHM was one of the best, one of our friends. He said basically he's only joking. Lewis did get 8 out of 10 on the Premier League a few weeks ago. Yes, he did. I knew you were one of the good guys, RHM.
9 out of 10. 9 out of 10.
9 out of 10 it was. 9 out of 10.
Not sure about a winner since, though. That's the problem.
What else we got? I knew RHM was one of the good guys. John says City have been leading at half time in the last 8 home games. Yeah, the half time sort of full time thing is a bit of an odd one, isn't it? City there. They scored their first Premier League goals in the second half, didn't they, in that Liverpool game? Steve's with us, says I think that Fulham could spring a surprise here. Over 1.5 team total, may beat Nick a draw. Don't mind that. Gracie says it's similar to Carl Walker. Hardly booked for City, booked all the time at Burnley. Different teams, different pressures. Effie says, in my opinion, City will score at least 3 today. Steve says, I get that at plus 115. What are you playing at? Plus 4 at? I have to have a look at that one for you. But 3.5 is the line from Lewis then. Giuseppe says, lean on Gay's shot on target, plus 200. Yeah, I mean, I've been pricing up Premier League games. I've been getting a lot right, but some wildly wrong. My model actually says under 3 for this. Take that what you want. That's City versus Fulham. Next up, let's have a look at, where do we go next? Where's my notes? Yes, we have to remind you of this. Now, tennis, soccer, basketball, whatever sport you are following right now, bets on it with a February fun bet. Betting Weekly and Bet Rivers have teamed up to give you a $10 bonus bet at Bet Rivers when you enter the bonus code BW201. That code again is BW201. The offer expires on the 15th of February. Must be 21. Eligible players only. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. It is proved very, very profitable. If you can, wherever you are in the States, if you can get Bet Rivers account, take advantage of this. The offers keep on coming from our friends at Bet Rivers, and we appreciate them all. And it sounds like a lot of you have been taking advantage of that. Let's get to the Villa game, shall we? Aston Villa taking on Brighton today. Who says he was going to go to the game? Is it Joe who's going to go to the game? I presume you're UK based. You must be Joe. Let's give Joe a name check. I can't remember where it was. It was way back in the chat. Said he was off to see Villa play today. Joe P 943 says, afternoon gents, off to the Villa Brighton match tonight. Can only see a home win, says Joe. Where are our other Villa fans here? Where's Jake? I think he was suggesting a home win as well for this one. Villa fan 20 says, not talking about that one. What else have we got? I'm sure we had someone saying home win here. I must admit, I'm not so sure. Only at the prices. Villa -1 away, Brighton +260, tie +290. I'd want a little bit bigger from a Villa standpoint here. I must admit, I make them 5-4, sort of +120 when I was pricing this one up. I'm not quite sure. It just seems to be a little bit of regression. We've talked about it all season. And I know that some people think, well, Villa just can play beyond their metrics. But we may be seeing in a few games that is not the case. I mean, Brighton are awful. Don't get me wrong. They have really struggled here. And they haven't... I can't remember what is it, 1 win in the last 12 or something like that, Lewis. It's a difficult one for me. I just think that Villa are a little bit too short for me to pull the trigger. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't really want to back both teams. It's one of those situations. I think here both look a bit too short to me. So probably the obvious play would be just to back the draw, because I do like Aston Villa in home matches. I think it's a very obviously a thing that's been mentioned a lot on the Premier League show with you guys about their home form and how they seem to lure Nigel and Jack in a lot, don't they? To put faith in them.
They have done this week. They've lured Jack in this week. He's gone half-time, full-time Villa.
Yeah. I would be worried just without 3 key players, really. John McGinn, Yuri Tielemans and Kamara all out, especially Kamara. I mean, the with and without stats with Kamara from since the start of the 23-24 season really do put me off back in Villa at these sort of prices when he's in. This is over a sample size of like 57 with him, 42 without him. The win ratio drops from 62% to 40%. Goals against per game drops from 1.1 goals conceded to 1.7 conceded per game. And the points per game goes from 2 to 1.5. So over that sort of sample size, you have to put a bit of weight in those numbers, I think. And the eye test backs it up as well, because he makes them tick in there. He's a very, very shrewd operator in the midfield, breaks a lot of things up, gets them playing. He's just a huge miss for them. But don't really know what Brighton are either at the moment, Dan, to be honest, because they're a real muddle to work out from how they're trying to go about things. I think they don't really press high. They don't really take many risks. They don't play a high line. They don't really boss possession that much anymore. I mean, I watched them against Palace I was there at the Amex on Sunday, watched them close up, and they were quite pretty with the ball, but they carried no threat whatsoever. And they're just the likes of like Ruta and Mitoma, Minter, Baleba, they're all miles below where their normal levels are at. And the manager does have to find a solution here. And he really copped it from the home fans at full time. And he looked white as a sheet, actually, as he walked off down the tunnel. I think he was shocked by how much anger there was towards him. And I think the fans made it clear that they want to change. I think in the dugout, he's going to have to go on a real hot streak here or do something in the FA Cup, I think, to really save his job come the end of the season. So I wanted to go elsewhere for an angle here, and it's going to be set piece orientated again. It's an area of the game where I'm focusing a lot this season based on the type of football that we're seeing. And 2 bets I like here, well, there's 3 bets I like, revolve around Lewis Dunk, the Brighton centre-back. Dunk to score is 12-1. Over 0.5 shots on target, plus 420. Both those bets are really live runners, I think, just because there's been a big change actually in the last 4 games in the fact that Pascal Gross is back at Brighton and he's now taking all the set pieces, and his chemistry with Lewis Dunk, they played together for many, many years. It's resulted in Gross putting it on a plate for Dunk to attack a lot of balls from set pieces. He's had 6 shots in his last 4 appearances, so that's a total of about 0.6 xG. So the quality of chance has been pretty high, and he headed one wide against Palace from a Gross delivery. And I think this is the key to the bet here, is the fact that the quality and the chemistry between Gross and Dunk from these set pieces. He's the first point of contact now, Lewis Dunk. And I just think in a game where Brighton probably going to be lacking inspiration from open play, set pieces might be their best way to attack this, I think. So yeah, I'm just going to sprinkle sort of a unit across Dunk to score at plus 1,200 and that shot on target price as well. And also, if you want to use the same game parlay and really attack an absolute monster price, you can put the Pascal Gross assist in there as well and combine it in the same game parlay. So Gross to assist and Lewis Dunk to score comes out 50-1 with Bet Rivers, and all 6 of his chances that he's had in the last 3 games have come from Gross crosses. So this is the combination where you can sort of put value upon value.
It's going to be them too. Yeah,
I think so. So that's you got to have something on that 50-1 just in case Dunk does score and Gross is the man to assist. So yeah, like those like those plays here. I think a goal is coming for Lewis Dunk, and just because of the chemistry that he has with Pascal Gross, they've played together for years, and we've seen that in the last few games. So I think he'll go close again tonight, and hopefully that combo can land for an absolute monster winner.
Yeah, he came back from Dortmund. I think he was subbing his first game. Just look at his stats here, and then he started every game since. They obviously he's just really well liked. Coach likes him, fits into the system. I mean, he's a good player. Didn't quite work out at Dortmund, did it? But when he was at Brighton, he was absolutely fantastic. Like that play, have a little bit of that same game parlay as well. You might be able to cash a really nice big ticket. Going back to a little bit of Villa chat here. Byron says Villa on the money line. Effie says both teams scored over 2.5. Roger score or assist. He likes. John says Ollie Watkins got 9 goals, provided 2 assists in 7 starts versus Brighton, so he's got a good record there. Stephen's talking about Sunderland. We'll get to that shortly. Villa fans says we've lost our last 2 at home after only losing 1 at home in the whole of 2025. Midfield injury has ruined us. We need to limp over the line to the end of the season now. Goals tonight over 2.75, says Villa fan. Giuseppe says lean under 3 here. Can't see 4 goals. And John, our producer, who is a Brighton fan, says, I fear Joe might be right if we play like we did on Sunday. Yeah, John's not happy about that. A guy called A, leaning Villa at money line. Effie with Chelsea, Man United dropping points. Big game for Villa. This is true. Byron says this is Bournemouth Everton all over again. Yeah, we talked about that yesterday. I wasn't on the show, but just chipping me some comments. I don't think it's quite the same. I think one game later is, but I take your point. Effie says, losing today, Brighton will get any serious relegation threat. And Slim, you may well be John again, says, to many Brighton fans with short memories at the moment, too many. We were poor on Sunday, but I feel it was unnecessary how they reacted at the end. Jazz OJ says, Villa double chance under 3.5 was evens last time I checked. Mike's liking your play, Lewis. Pat says, no bet in that game for me. Gracie says, dunk 13 to 10 for a shot. You can find places. What else have we got here? Mike says, yeah, I won the tips from Jack on Friday. Yeah. Nice one. Right, let's move on because we are getting tight-ish for time and there's plenty of games still to talk you through. But I love the creativity with Lewis. We've still not got to the daily double. Lewis is on daily double duty. We cashed it on Tuesday, not yesterday, but we're hopeful today. And the first part of the daily double does come in the next game, which is Palace up against Burnley. I mean, Palace have been bet. If we recorded the Premier League show on Monday, there were a bet then. I'm not quite sure if they are now. I think they're about the right price. But if you want to bet them, I couldn't bet anyone off at -$2. Burnley plus 575. The tie plus 330 here. Strand Larson, who did all right, I think, in his debut, didn't score, but played all right, according to reports, plus 170. Sarr plus 175. I mean, Scott Parker's been trying anything and everything. Fleming, Foster and Brozier, they've all played up front. They've all started up front in recent games. Don't know who's going to play here. I mean, I think Palace will win. I probably won't bet them at -$2. Lewis, though, you have got some thoughts on this, including the first leg of the daily double.
Yeah, can totally see the case for Palace here, especially the win to nil bet. But the price, again, plus 120, I think we can get with Bet Rivers. Borderline too short for a win to nil bet. I think that even though the fact that Palace kept their first clean sheet in a long time against Brighton, they look a lot more secure. And Oliver Glasner's been talking about this reset situation since the window is shut. Can totally see that now. And I think we just got to base Palace, maybe forget a little bit about this, the whole uncertainty that was around them and the fatigue that was in January, and maybe look back towards when they were at their best, because I thought defensively they were rock solid again against Crystal Palace. And it's my angle here is a shots bet on one of those 3 centre-backs here for Crystal Palace. A bit of a running theme here today on centre-backs on the show. And it's a bit of an unusual betting strategy here, because I'm picking a player who has moved position, which is very normal in this sort of way to find value in markets. But this player has moved from midfield into the Palace defence. And this is Jefferson Lerma at over 0.5 shots at -117. But since he's gone back into the back line, he has become their go-to guy as their sort of focal point from set pieces. Now, Mark Gay's left, obviously. He used to get a lot of first contacts. And now Lerma has stepped into that breach, and he is turned out to be a very capable man at attacking set pieces. I've watched their last 3 games, their routines quite closely, and especially because I was at the Amex on Sunday, and every time he got free at the back post, it was obviously a key tactic they were trying to use to make him, to get him like the blocks would come in and he would be the free guy at the back post. I'm not sure if opposition managers have really cottoned on to how good he is in the air at the moment, Lerma, because he's now just becoming, as I mentioned, the change of tactic for being that first contact. He had 3 shots against Chelsea 3 games ago. 2 of those were from set pieces. He had 2 shots against Nottingham Forest, and it was his shot from a header that was cleared off the line by Nico Williams for when he got sent off. So
yeah,
already a really interesting developing trend here for his shots output going up since he's become part of this back line. But also, if you just look at his touches in the opposition box, that is just showcasing how much he is getting involved at these set pieces. So in the last 3 games, Dan, he's had 16 touches in the opposition box. All of them have come from set pieces. And to just put that into context, how much of a massive figure that is the same as Florian Wirtz and Cole Palmer have had in the last 3 games for Liverpool and Chelsea. So that just showcases how much he is actually winning from them first contacts in the opposition box. So I just think here this price, sort of like, what is it, -117 on the single, is really big for in a game where Palace are heavy odds on to win. They're going to get lots of territory, lots of set pieces, whether that's corners or free kicks. Just think Lerma is going to be to the fore. They're going to try and isolate him round the back, and he's going to get some sort of effort on goal, surely, if they keep repeating what they've been doing over the last few weeks. So I really think this is a big price to attack here, -117. Going to put it in the daily double. Would not put people off the +380 either for over 1.5 shots for Lerma as well. He was a little bit short on the goal scorer, only +800, I think, with Bet Rivers. So I managed to, I could leave that one alone, but it's just his shots output at the moment in the way that he is the go-to focal point at the moment in this, the way they're constructing their set pieces since Gay has left. I think it makes it a really interesting shots angle with the prices being offered here by Bet Rivers. So it had to go in the daily double, Dan.
Mate, I think that is absolutely top draw analysis. And this is it. You know, I think a lot of people were wondering what Glasden was going to do with that 3, because Canvo came in and played a little bit, but looked very nervous, and he's only young, and he's also played out wide as well. And Lerma has popped up playing everywhere for most of the season, hasn't he? He's sort of like, he's been the guy that's come in when others have been injured, but you tend to think now he might settle.
He was excellent as well with his defensive
footballer.
play.
He's just a good footballer, I think.
Yeah,
you know, which I think is which I just think is a plus. You know, if he gets in those situations and it's not a header, you know, I think he's just got the capability to score and trouble defenses. That is part 1, first leg of the daily double, shot on target for Lerma in the Palace game against a Burnley. But look, you know, Palace are usually a counter-attacking side, but they're going to have a lot of the ball, I think, tonight.
Not a shot on target, just any shot, Dan. Any shot. No, it doesn't.
Oh, just any shot. So just any shot.
Any shot at all. Any shot registered by Opta will land, and he's had 5 in his last 3, and he's had all those touches in the opposition box. He's gonna be winning those first contacts and hopefully get something towards goal.
Love that. What have we got here? Ian says Palace and City double. Effie says Palace clean sheet +110. Louis Mitt says really surprised that unders is well above even money here. Do you like unders? Surely a Palace win, says Jazzy. What else have we got here? Leslie talking about lots of goals today. Palace both teams to score no, +163 from Zolo. I went Palace -1 at -106. Don't mind that, to be honest. John Tate says, love that. Lewis Byron says, Lerma shot on target, if you want to go that extra mile, is +260. But for the purpose of, look, you can spread your stakes around. You know, a little bit more on just the shot, a little bit less on shot on target, a little bit less again for any time goal scorer. Get your bank together and move it around so you can have a bit of fun with Lerma. Looks like a really solid play from Lewis. It's part of the daily double. That is Palace versus Burnley. Let's move on to Forest Wolves. Forest -148, Wolves +425. I think Forest are way too short here at -148. I know that traditionally, since they popped back into the Premier League, their home form has been good, but they're under a bit of pressure. I made them closer to even money when he prices. So I will be betting Wolves in the tie. I'll be getting the draw on side here, and I'm probably going to be betting unders as well. In fact, I will be betting unders. It's mine at -108 for this one. We've got some goal scorer markets there as well. Looker, of course, scored in his debut. It was only a consolation against Leeds, +165. I mean, Wolves in their last game, they were beaten, obviously, but they played about 5 strikers, didn't they? I mean, Mane played, Armstrong played, Arakadari played, Hwang played, who I think he's injured. I mean, I'm not quite sure what Rob Edwards is doing at the minute. And this is where I've got a little bit of an issue with betting any Wolves game because you tend to think he's starting to think to next season, don't you? And looking at players maybe in different positions and who's going to be with the squad and whatever. But I'm still going to be betting unders, and I'm still going to be betting Wolves with half a goal start. We have got second leg of the daily. Don't give us your thoughts on the game before the second. I mean, your thoughts on the game sort of tie into the second leg, really, don't they? I guess.
I suppose it does. It does. Yeah,
it's not a prop, basically. That's what I'm saying.
No, exactly. More traditional bet, this one, and it's what I'm trying to focus on here is Wolves' defensive output in terms of their defensive record when it comes to non-penalty expected goals per 90 over the past 10 games. Yes, they are a real bad team going forward and they can't score goals, but defensively, they're actually quite a hard team to score goals against now Rob Edwards has come in. Their expected non-penalty XG per 90 against is at 1.1 across the last 10 games, which is the third best in the Premier League. Only Arsenal and Manchester United have got better defensive metrics in that time. And I just think when you've got a team that are really good defensively and obviously got nothing going forward, the unders in any sort of situation has to sort of stand out anyway. But when you throw a Sean Dyche team into the mix that are going to be playing with a whole load of expectation on their shoulders at the City Ground to beat a team who are going to be cut adrift probably at the bottom of the table at the end of the season, I think it's going to be a tough atmosphere for Forest to play in here. And I think Sean Dyche would absolutely rip your hand off for a 1-0 scrappy win at the moment, just to ease a bit of the pressure on his shoulders, get that gap to West Ham a little bit more comfortable. So I do think the strategy here is to back Wolves to keep this competitive without them needing to actually get anything from the game, owing to those obviously terrible goal scoring records. Could not trust them to go on. I couldn't even trust them on the double chance. I don't think even the odds were, borderline backable, to be honest. But I just think the whole win side of that bet is probably done, to be honest, because I don't really think Wolves can go there and win. So I just have to back the underline here and hope the Wolves' defensive output continues to be of sort of one of the best around in the Premier League at the moment. And hopefully Sean Dyche brings his usual risk-free football to the table and the game just sort of drifts maybe for 60 minutes or so, then they go and turn the taps on maybe late on. So I just think all the under goal lines here have to be of interest. Under 2.5 at minus 106, it has to be a run. I wouldn't put people off that. But for the with that Lerma price being so chunky, we could go and back the under 3.5 line here to play for the daily double, and that brings out a plus 146 shot. That's a really nice price, I think, based on the two likelihoods. I think, and because I'll just be stunned if there's 4 or more goals in this game. I mean, I can't see Forest running riot because they just need the victory so much. So once they get ahead, they'll just be shutting up shop and making sure they get the 3 points and doing what Sean Dyche wants them to do. So yeah, unders the play has to be in that one. Just with that Wolves defensive output, always just seemingly drawing me in at the moment. I think they're a good defensive team, and the market's not really giving them enough respect in that regard just because of their woeful returns this season. So yeah, that daily double, Jefferson Lerma over 0.5 shots for Crystal Palace against Burnley, and we're doubling that up with under 3.5 goals in Nottingham Forest versus Wolves.
Plus 146. Love that daily double. Love the Lerma plays. Just different class. Just over 0.5 shots. Not shots on target. Just shots. Effie says Wolves have nothing to lose, so they will try and play free attacking football. I see at least 3 goals. I'm betting on that. I mean, Forest have got issues at the back. I don't think Maria's going to play, is he? Williams will probably come back in. It was only a 1-match ban. They had Zach Abbott, who's a centre-half, making his Premier League debut at fullback at the weekend. Marato is just not good enough, and Ortega was in for sales. I don't know if that's going to change. I do like sort of Wolves to get something, but I'm down with the unders as a proper bet, that is for sure. What have we got here? Leslie say, John says, when the sides met back in early December, 12 match corners, split 9-3 in Forest favour. Maybe go corners, says John in this one. That is the daily double. We've got one more proper game to look at. I will rattle through some Bilbao Sociedad trends for that Copa del Rey game in just a sec. But finally, we go Sunderland Liverpool. And my best bet yesterday was Bournemouth quarter ball or draw no bet. I sort of played them both. I mean, today, I know I text you and I understand what you're going to say here. Sunderland have been bet. I mean, when I put the running order together for the Premier League show, they were plus 410, they're plus 340. I still think they're a bet. I still don't think Liverpool should be minus money. Minus 134 here, tie plus 290. I know we can sort of oversimplify things, But Sunderland are unbeaten at home and have played some good teams at home, City and Arsenal. And sure, as you did text me earlier today, Lewis, and said the run's got to end at some stage. But Liverpool might not be the team to do it. I don't know who's going to play right back. Szoboszlai obviously was playing there, and he's a very good player. He's had a very good season. Don't know if Gomez is going to be back. We've got a little bit of data issues there with our first... I'm sure that Liverpool players would love all those United players to turn up tonight, but that's not going to be the case. I'm going to bet Sunderland with a half-ball start. Lewis, what are you going to bet?
Yeah, I'll offer $1 million to 1 that Cunha scores any time for Liverpool tonight. So if anyone wants to come, please give Jones Bookmakers a call. Yeah, I can see where you're coming from with Sunderland here. I totally get it because they are.
This is a book, though, Lewis. I can feel the book coming.
Yeah, there is a but with Sunderland. It revolves around Granit Xhaka, to be honest, not being available still, and how they have thrown in a couple of wobbly performances without him. I mean, at Arsenal, yes, you could be expected to be outclassed, but they really laid the glove on Arsenal in that game, as you would have seen firsthand, I'm sure. And there was the other game at West Ham, wasn't there? Again, where they were very, very easily swatted aside, really. Yes, they're a different team at home, but this is a team full of quality with Liverpool. And I just think this they can't keep going unbeaten at home, putting up some of the metrics that they have done this season. They're a very spirited team, good players, very physical, but there is a limit, I think, to what they can compete with at times. And I think the prices are right here. I mean, I was trying to, if Liverpool did move towards maybe even money or even money, then maybe I would get involved. This would be the unbeaten run snaps, but thought the prices were right, so staying clear of the outrights. And we're going centre-backs again. Dan, it's a very common theme again here today. So I do like Dan Ballard when his prices are right for a shot. And his prices are right here with Bet Rivers against this opposition. It's all about matchups, isn't it? Sometimes when you're looking to play a centre-back against a team that can't defend set pieces properly. And Liverpool was still a very disorganised team from that part of the game. They conceded 14 goals from set pieces this season. Only Bournemouth have conceded more in the Premier League. And Sunderland are a very set-piece focused team. Any free kick in the opposition half, they send both Ballard and Alderete up. Same for corners, obviously same for throw-ins as well. So you're getting a good run for your money with Ballard because he is in the box a lot and he is knocking around these attacking set pieces. And he's had a shot in every one of his home fixtures he's played in this season. So that's 100% strike rate across those 10 home matches that he's played in. He's had 15 shots in total at home in that time. And he's very Harry Maguire-like when he gets in there. He's very full of intent and he's got the skill set to cause real issues for opposition and get shots away. And he's minus 156 for over 0.5 shots here. Does sound short for a centre-back, but just based on this season and the set-piece extravaganza we're seeing and the amount of times he heads up into the box, I think that price is backable actually for over 0.5 shots. He's plus 220 for over 0.5 shots on target as well. I'd probably be having a unit and splitting stakes between both of them, I think, because he gives you a great run for money in all these attacking metrics. But yet again, normally you would complete the set by having a little play on him to score, but plus 800 to score. I mean, it's so short, and this is where the markets have sort of aligned themselves with this set piece extravaganza which is going on this season. The 16 to 1s and the 18 to 1s we used to get on these players of last season has now absolutely gone, and I can absolutely leave him alone at plus 800 to score. But I'm comfortable having to play on his shots prices still. I still think there's value to be had even at that end of the market. So yeah, Dan Ballard for over 0.5 shots, and also you might as well have a little bit, maybe 25% of that unit on the plus 220 for an overshot over 0.5 shots on target as well. So yeah, lots of centre backs being put up on this show today, and we're hoping the set piece extravaganza continues, Dan.
Love that. I'm going to play Sunderland plus 0.5 at plus 107, just looking at the latest prices. Byron says Sunderland double chance. Stuart, Sunderland on the money line. Effie says over 2.5 goals at Sunderland. Best bet, Sunderland team total over 1.5 at 3.3 decimals. Byron says Ekatiki on a Union goal strike at the moment. How do they score? Yeah, I thought Sunderland did all right against Arsenal. It wasn't really a 3-0 game. And yeah, I don't know who's going to play on that right-hand side for Liverpool, but is it Talby that plays on the left for Sunderland or DR? I can't remember, but they've got some talented players. They will have a little bit of a go. Byron says, good grief, the shots on pricing are set like it's Frankfurt Munich match. What the heck? No bet, says Pat for me. Alderete, 3 shots, 2 on target in the reverse fixture. Yeah, you could have a pot with him if you prefer. That is for sure. Sunderland for me. I think I'm going to play unders as well. I can't remember what my numbers say, but certainly going to play Sunderland 0.5. One last thing, just to rattle through very quickly. I did promise that we'd have a look at this one. So here it is. This is the Basque Derby. It's the Copa del Rey semi-final, first leg, 2-legged affair. And Bilbao, or Athletic Club, I should call them. Rory Bowler's going to kill me for calling them Bilbao. Plus 135. Villarreal at plus 230 here. Overs and unders there, you can see. Over 2.5 plus 123. Under has been backed off the boards. Was minus 152, now minus 177. And both teams to score. No has also been backed. Was minus 113. Now minus 124. But all the trends say unders and both teams to score no. Unders has now probably become a no bet. Last 21 meetings at San Mamés between these two. And it's a cup game, but it's a semi. It's a first leg. It's a Basque Derby. It's a proper game. 13 of the last 21 have been both teams to score no. 13 of the last 21 have been minus 152. So in pride, probability would say that both teams to score no is a play, but under 2.5 is not a play anymore. They met in the 2020 final. Villarreal won 1-0. Both teams to score an under 2.5 have hit in 5 of the last 6 Copa del Rey semi-final first legs. So KG, Basque Derby, a lot of trends pointing to unders. So both teams to score no, whatever that new price was. I scribbled it down at minus 113. But it's now minus 124. I still think that is acceptable as far as I am concerned. And just a final reminder of the Betting Weekly bonus bet that you can take advantage of. Tennis, soccer, basketball, whatever you're following right now, betting it with a February fun bet. Betting Weekly and Bet Rivers have teamed up to give you a $10 bonus bet at Bet Rivers when you enter the bonus code BW201. That code is BW201. Take advantage of that. The offer expires on February the 15th. Must be 21. Eligible players only. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. We are going to wrap things up right now. Lewis can remind us of the daily double before we let him escape. Lewis, what we got?
Yeah, brilliant pricing with Bet Rivers for Jefferson Lerma to have over 0.5 shots. That's a perfectly palatable as a single at minus 117, or just go the whole hog and back in for over 1.5 shots as well. It could about plus 315, I think that was. So, but we're going to put him in the daily double with Nottingham Forest versus Wolves to go under 3.5 goals. Just can't see how that game produces 4 or more goals. So yeah, plus 146, and hopefully we can get the daily double back on the winning trail, Dan.
Wonderful. Plus 146 for that. I really like the Lerma play. If you can get those shots markets, the shots on top markets, make sure you play that. Dave Clark says, no Bayern Munich, Red Bull Salzburg preview. Not from me, Dave, but you've put up Munich to win, both teams to score. How about that? We can have that as a community play. That's your lot from myself and Lewis. Steve's back in the chair tomorrow. Let's hope we can cash some tickets tonight.